So when I was growing up, I was a little bit mean to my sister. And I don't think she's going to mind me too much sharing this story. I was the older sister, so I'm 13 months older than Sally. And we were great sisters, and we're like the best of, she says she touches her nose. Does that mean I'm lying when I say that? No. We were the best of friends, and we are still the best of friends. And, there was some sister rivalry and we definitely argued and I definitely knew how to press her buttons. And I used to say to her pretty repeatedly, "You're so useless. You're so useless." And I didn't realize what I was doing until I began my personal development journey and started doing my own healing work, my own self-awareness work. And I realized the impact of what we're told as kids and how that impacts us as adults. And when I realized the impact of certain things that were said to me and modeled to me and how that was showing up in a really sort of self-sabotaging ways as an adult, I then started to realize what I used to say to my sister and how I used to talk to her. And I felt awful. And I went to her one day and I shared this with her. And I was crying and I said, "I'm so sorry that I ever spoke to you like that," because it had a real impact on her life. And there was some time there where, the subtext in her own mind was, "You're useless." And there's nothing useless about my sister. Like, she's so intelligent, she's so bright, she's so capable and clever and independent and beautiful. Like, she's the whole package, right? I really hope you're watching this, Sally, because I mean that. She's the whole package. So to believe I'm useless was just not true, but it's interesting the beliefs that we can live into. And the reason I'm sharing this is because I spoke with a client yesterday who kind of had the same thing going on. And there's a general kind of conversation in her family. And I won't use her name, so I've got to be careful how I say this without sharing her name. But there's a general conversation in her family that they didn't really understand her. She was kind of a bit off with the fairies, a bit dizzy, a bit like, lovely, lovable, and everything that they said and the way they communicated to her was really loving. And it suggested that she didn't have it together, that maybe she never really would. And that's kind of sweet and lovable about her. But, she's an entrepreneur and doing amazing things in this world. And in fact, she's doubled her business revenue in the last 6 months, which is absolutely phenomenal considering what's going on in the world. And yet she's walking around like with these ideas of where she wants to take her business next. And she's walking around thinking, I don't really know what I want to do. Like, she turned up on the coaching call yesterday a bit dizzy, a bit like, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I can do that. And I think maybe I'm not believing in myself. And there was this kind of like, dizzy energy. And I'm like, that's not who you are. Like, her childhood conditioning in that moment was running the show. And in many moments of her life, it is running the show. And so I shared the story of my sister and how, she was experiencing something similar until she also had the awareness and did her own personal growth work and now doesn't walk around in the world believing that she's useless, which is awesome to see. And I can see also just to say that the reason I probably told her she was useless is because as the older sister, the programming and conditioning I was receiving was that I was to be the good girl. Like, my sister got away with being the naughty girl. She was naughty, she got up to mischief, and everyone kind of thought that was, oh, Sally, up to mischief again. Whereas I had to be the good girl. I felt like I had to be perfect. I had to get everything right. I felt the pressure of that, like this sort of A-type personality kind of pressurizing. And so I guess I was rebelling against that by being mean to her, right? But interestingly, I took the same programming into my own life. So while my sister brought in this sort of conditioning of, oh, Sally, what's she up to now? Does she know what she's doing? Or she's a bit useless. like my client had that energy going on too. I had actually quite the opposite. I had the high expectation energy. I've got, the piece that I am always having to be conscious to is the need to be perfect, to get everything right, to have a to-do list and get it all done, to be a super high achiever. Like my journey, there's no coincidence that I founded something called the School of Self-Love, because I had to learn self-compassion, like a gentleness, a kindness with myself, that I don't have to get it all right and I don't have to be perfect, and it's okay just to be me and show up as me in the world. And so so that's been my own piece to overcome. And I know in my adult life, like one of my, I guess, victim archetype complaints would be that nobody really understands the real me. No one asks me how I am. No one reaches out and says, Katie, do you need help? Because I kind of project this energy of I'm sorted, I've got it, I'm okay, I can handle it, I can get stuff done. And actually, while I'm taking care of myself perfectly fine, I can take care of everybody else as well. And that hasn't been very helpful for me. So that's another piece that I've had to overcome. So I'm sharing all of this today because I think it's really important that we are in like very clear, real awareness of how our childhood conditioning is playing out in our adult lives. So if you're walking around telling yourself, oh, I don't know, or, maybe it's not meant for me, or, like that energy, maybe check in, because I'm pretty sure if you're an entrepreneur, that's not true. You do know what you want. You do know how to go get it. But this story that you don't is holding you back, right? Same as if you're a bit more like me, a bit more A-type, and you're feeling like you have to do it all because you know you can. It's about checking in and going, really? Do I have to? How could I balance that out? How could I take care of myself today? How could I give myself permission to maybe surrender a little today? Maybe not have to get it all right and perfect. Maybe not have to do it all. How could I take care of me today? And not live into the conditioning that would have somebody of my personality, or my conditioning, should I say, my conditioning go into overdrive and then into like burnout and adrenal fatigue. Like, who wants that, right? So that's my little message for you today. I just invite you to notice if there's any conditioning playing out in your adult life that's sabotaging the woman that you are and showing up in the world as the woman who you're meant to be, and what you know is your absolute truth and your absolute purpose. Yeah? Love you lots. Have a good day. Bye.